Hey guys, coming to you from Moraine Park. I'm going to try to keep my voice down and not disturb any of the ELK. You should be able to see them behind me. We got a big bull right there, resting. We're going to wait for golden hour, get some fantastic shots. He's got his whole herd over here too. Let's see what happens. Today, we're going to look at the town of Estes Park and Rocky Mountain National Park like we did in the last episode, looking for elk, and specifically the biggest bull elk during the rut. Stay tuned. If you want to find me online and see some of the photos that I took today, go ahead and search jace.pnw, jace.pnw on Instagram. Alright guys, welcome to the beautiful town of Estes Park here in Colorado. I just got out of Rocky Mountain National Park this morning. I saw two of the biggest bull elk with pretty huge harems. A bull elk is the big male elks with the giant antlers. A harem is the group of cow elk that he's won by fighting other bull elk. So today I've got two tips for you on locations to look for huge bull elk. Now, you can find elk fairly easily around Estes and around Rocky Mountain National Park, and when you can find large groups of elk, especially specifically in this case cow elk, you'll often in September find a large bull that's one right, just beat out all the other males so that no one else comes in and starts, you know, making babies with the cow elk. And so today I saw two of those largest bull elk that I've ever seen, or even really that I've heard of before, at least in this area. One of them was right down in the center of Moraine Park. Now keep in mind that the parks are closed for you to go walk around in. Now Moraine Park, it's not Rocky Mountain National, it's not a different park. Moraine Park, East Horseshoe Park are not parks like Rocky Mountain National Park is a park. They're called parks because they're large, open, like grasslands where elk can come and graze. People used to like ranch their animals there. It's a French word, P-A-R-Q-U-E. That seemed to be a pretty regular place for that harem with that bull, and so if you look on a map and you see exactly where Moraine Park is, it will not be hard to drive up on the side of the road. Keep in mind those parks are closed. You cannot get off the road and go walk around in them during the rut. The bull elk are extremely aggressive. It's extremely important for you to keep this in mind. You have to be ethical when observing or photographing any wildlife, especially elk, and especially elk during the rut. Why? Well, a couple reasons. One, it's a pretty sensitive time for them, obviously, as they're mating and getting ready to produce babies that'll be born in the spring. That's just a sensitive time probably for anyone or any wild animal. Two, the male elk, the bulls, are there for almost the express purpose of fighting off other bulls so that they can keep their cows to themselves. Now, I got extremely lucky that further into Moraine Park, there was a little bit of a smaller group of cows, harem, with a fairly large bull who was herding them and kind of doing all of the normal elk rut behavior. And they were fairly close to the side of the rut. So I parked off to the side in a parking area, hopped out, kind of stood behind my car with my camera. And another tip when you're photographing animals like these, keep yourself small, quiet, non-aggressive, non-dominating. You can lean down on the ground, get behind a bush, become as invisible as possible. I don't really lock eyes with wild animals, especially bull elk. I'll look down, look up at him, just to make sure I know where he is. Bring up my camera, take a few shots, point it down, slowly, methodically. I don't challenge them. If you are careful and you learn how to do these sorts of behaviors around wildlife, they will very quickly become accustomed to your presence and ignore you. The one thing you do not want to do as a wildlife photographer, viewer, enthusiast, whatever, is change an animal's behavior, and that even includes it looking up straight at you. Now, if it looks up at you and you freeze and you quiet down, calm down, and it goes back to whatever it's doing, that's one thing. When you walk up to an animal and it stares you down, maybe it moves, maybe it runs away, maybe it gets ready to like charge in, which will happen. Like I said, saw it today with bull elk. You have to learn to act responsibly, carefully, quietly. And if that means staying in your car as a blind, that's a great idea. A lot of the time, since you can't go into Moraine Park or East Horseshoe Park, just stay in your car. You're going to be on the road anyway. Lean out the window with your camera. You'll be a less intimidating presence. You still get a lot of movement. And if you have a sunroof, take advantage of that. All right, so I already made it pretty clear that the first tip is Moraine Park. Don't stop the first time you see an elk in Moraine Park. Now, maybe you see an elk and it's awesome and you want to stop and take a photo. Don't stop assuming that that's like the best shot you're going to get. You can keep going down the road to, I think it's Cub Lake Trailhead, and along that way I saw 3 groups of elk, 2 large bulls today. I skipped the last herd because it was very small, might have even just been kind of a split off of one of the other herds, but those elk started coming in. They eventually even crossed the road, and from the safety of behind my car, I was able to get some fantastic shots. Super excited. Some of the best shots I've ever been able to get of elk during the rut, and was, along with several other photographers, able to do it safely, ethically, quietly, with minimal impact, if any, on the elk's behavior. GPS coordinates in the description below. Now, we have a wonderful and almost painful system right now in Rocky Mountain National Park, and honestly, I hope it never goes away. I'm sure everybody will hate me for saying that, but getting to go into Rocky Mountain National Park when there is a timed entry system, keeping crowds from all coming in at the same time, makes the park much more accessible and honestly, in my opinion, much more enjoyable. Photographing when there's more people than elk, not the most wild experience, and photography is all about the experience. No one knows exactly when that system's going away, so be sure that if you're wanting to go and get these sorts of shots, that you're planning to get a ticket ahead of time. Right now, I'm planning on just going home and booking the rest of September on Fridays when I've got time off. Reservations are $2. Just go get some reservations. Now, one of the reasons I bring that up is this. I'm in Estes right now for a wedding, which is fantastic, got some phenomenal photos, really excited, but I did not plan far enough ahead to get reservations for every day that I was here. So I spent some time driving around Estes Park because there are elk everywhere. I mean, there were elk literally on Main Street when I came over here to take this video. And as I was driving around, I found several places that had elk. One place in particular that was very consistent. You could hear the bugling, even honestly on my drive over here as I passed it. And that is the Estes Golf Course. Now, be careful, be ethical, be responsible when on a golf course. There is a pathway that goes along kind of the outside and along the back where you can kind of travel without disrupting any golfers. And if you're along a fence, most of those bulls are wanting to keep all of their cows against a fence already, so that there's only one direction that another bull could come in from and challenge him, and he's not going to be like taken by surprise. Oh good, I've been recording this whole time. Now, if you're up for it, the best recommendation I can give you, especially based on my experience today, is to get up incredibly early, before sunset. Be at the gates of Rocky Mountain National Park at like 6 a.m. with your timed entry ticket. Start driving around, looking for If you don't know the park at all, you can look for some of the areas that groups of cars have pulled over. I much prefer to do my own scouting and not to just stop where I see other people have all gathered. If you can just pull over anywhere that you can see a group of elk, you don't even need to find a huge bull. Find the group of elk first, wait until the light is just enough that you can start to make out things like antlers, and then you should be able to get an eye on a bull. So you can drive into those coordinates I put in the description, find the group of cows, group of bulls, just any group of elk that you want to observe. Find a place where you can pull over, tires all the way over the white line. I know no one else is doing it, just do it. I promise it's gonna be better. And wait for light. You'll get beautiful, beautiful light coming up over the west side of the mountains and illuminating all of the elk below. If you can just pull over, find a group, wait it out. It will be gorgeous. If you're looking with binoculars or you're just watching, great, it's gonna be a good experience. If you're photographing, this is gonna be the difference between 2 or 3 star photo and a 4 or 5 star photo. It's just that timing, light coming up over the horizon. Hopefully that gives you enough to go on to find some huge bull elk and get some fantastic photos this rut. Don't worry, I'll be coming back with more of these as I locate more. I'm gonna try to get into the Kiwanichi Valley and see what I can see there. I've got some videos for you guys of the elk that I found in their groups, kind of where they were in Moraine Park. And if you thought this video was helpful, it would be awesome, make my day, if you would hit the like button, give me a comment letting me know what you loved. If there's something you disliked, put that in the comments. If there's something that you think maybe I'm wrong about and you'd love to give me a correction or suggestion, especially for Rocky Mountain National Park, drop those all in the comments below. Then hit subscribe, share if you're up for it. Thanks guys. See you next time.